George Wagner done testifying. So you can see there was a redirect, and after the redirect, we went to a recross. And one question too many. Carlos, still with me here in studio. Tell me what you meant by that when that state attorney prosecutor stood up and asked, what happens if you admit you did this?
Well, unfortunately, what all this does is give the defense an opportunity to restate what they've already stated on direct, which is, I didn't do this. Why do that? Leave that for closing argument. Otherwise, you're just giving them an opportunity to go ahead and ask the jury to vote for an acquittal in this case.
Yeah, you and I both were like, what? Did she just ask that? Because I said, that's a perfect argument and closing argument. Of course he's not going to get up here and admit it. Who would? Instead of asking him that question. Now, what about the redirect? Here were the questions. You didn't plan it. You didn't kill anyone. Are you telling the truth? And is your life on the line? And of course, so it was kind of the final word of saying those things. Do you think he was credible?
I think he was. I think it was just an extension of his direct examination, which was, I think, great, given the circumstances. All that the state has been able to prove in this particular case is that this guy has made questionable decisions in his youth, was involved in some petty crimes, but I don't think they've proven that he's a murderer.
And, you know, some of the brothers' testimony, I think, would be argued didn't really help the state's case. But let's talk about that briefly, because his brother entered a plea. His mother entered a plea. Both of them, those pleas and testimony were in exchange for having the death penalty taken off the table. But yet here, this man, George Wagner, on trial facing the death penalty. What do you think of that?
I think it's a head scratcher. I've been asking myself this ever since CourtTV has been covering this case. Why did they pursue trial with this particular individual? At best, he's a low-level participant, and they have went ahead and let Ma Barker, the brain trust of this criminal enterprise, and the trigger man get away with a much less severe sentence.
That's
Incredible.
exactly what's happened. It's crazy, isn't it? And this defendant does face 22 charges. Let's listen to what he had to say, George Wagner, the defendant, what he had to say about the truthfulness of the other witnesses.
Even though you're the one that has not been able to tell us anything consistent with what you told the agents at the border, you're the one who's telling the truth.
I don't remember exactly everything I said at the border.
That's not the question. The question is, what you're saying to us today is not consistent with what you said at the border.
I can't say if it is or not because I don't remember everything I've said there.
But everybody else is lying.
I'm saying that my mom and Tabby and Jake's lying about that night, where they're mistaken one. They're confusing two different events into one.
All right, what do you think of that, Carlos? Was that believable? Is the jury going to buy it?
You know, I will say this. What I took away from that exchange was I'm yelling literally at the TV screen, grab the transcript. He's been on the stand forever. Get that transcript, get his prior statements, confront him, make him read them. Have him basically eat his own words if you have something there. And that's the big issue here. I think that they really don't.
I think that's the issue. But you're right, impeach. Use it against them. Textbook way to do it that you just described. But it does beg the question whether or not they have any of that information. I do feel like the state in this case, Carlos, has really put everything out there. All of the witnesses, the length of time they've been presenting evidence that I think everything they had, the jury's heard.
Absolutely. And the question is, where's this going?
Yeah, where is this going? So do you think, I know, get out your crystal ball. Every guest is like, why are you asking me this? Do you think, from what you've heard at this point, of course the defense is not yet rested, but do you think an acquittal or found guilty?
If I was on the jury, I would vote for acquittal.
Wow. All right. We're going to stay tuned, watch this together.